Hi everyone, I'm Allie with PotomacBeads, and in this Better Beader episode, we are going to talk all about knots. In jewelry making, there are a number of different knots that you should know to be able to do stretchy string or wire even, or work with leather, or even to finish off bead weaving projects. We're going to go through some of them step by step so you know what we're talking about, because some YouTube videos might not be as descriptive as others. I'll also hint on different videos that you may want to watch to expand your knowledge on some of these knots, since we'll go through them quickly. So knot number one is going to be an overhand knot. If you can tie a shoe, you know how to do an overhand knot. When you're doing one side, it's literally just that one knot. That's how you're going to do that overhand knot, which may be required at the end of, say, a leather wrap, or even working with some suede or some other beads as well. Very, very simple, easiest knot that you can learn. That is number one. So our next important knot is going to be a square knot. This is used a lot working with stretchy string, that you can make sure that the knot is completed and tied off, and that you don't have to worry about it kind of coming apart. This is also done a lot at the end of bead weaving or on bead weaving projects where you will tie the threads together. With the satin cording here, just showing, a square knot is going to be right over left and then left over right. What I tend to do is I tie my left over right, and then I switch which hands I'm holding the knot in. When I do that and switch the hands, it accomplishes the same thing as the left over right, right over left. When you tie that knot, then you'll see one thread kind of exiting one side and one thread exiting the top and the bottom. When you pull nice and tight, you get a nice squared knot there coming out. So you'll notice the top knot here is coming out, that top thread, on the opposite corner and the opposite corner. That's going to be your square knot. That is the best way to hold secure stretchy string and the ends of tying threads together. You may want to use a burner then and burn those thread edges down. That's another tip and a technique. But there we conquered the square knot. Another knot that you don't want to overthink is that overhand knot when you have two cords. You're going to take both cords and just literally tie into a knot. This overhand knot is really, really helpful with the double here for the ends of bracelets or necklaces when you use buttons or closures or clasps. And that is going to be used as a double overhand knot, going over and just creating that nice little loop. Next we have the slip knot. And the slip knot is used usually with leather cording and allows the necklace or the bracelet to be adjustable, that you can move it and have it basically doubled as you're wearing it, and you have it longer or shorter, and gives you the opportunity to not do a clasp. To do a slip knot, you're going to have your piece of cord, and you're going to take one thread to one side, one thread basically to the other side. Keep in mind that you need to know the size of your wrist and your bracelet, because the smallest is going to go is basically where the cords touch. The biggest it's going to go is where the cords end, plus the knot. With the right hand side here, I have the thread coming out. I'm going to take the thread and turn it back along itself. Wrap the thread once around the longer piece and tie that end down. Now you can do it as a double, but that's going to be one side of the square knot. This one here, same deal. We're going to turn the thread back upon itself, kind of twist it and go through that loop. And once you get that, you will pull, and there you have your nice knot. Now again, when you open it up, you can pull both sides, and you can pull and have that slip knot. Again, great for leather, great for different cord, to avoid having a clasp on, great for kids' bracelets as well to work with a slip knot. Next is a knot that's really popular with macrame, and it's the half hitch knot. You can do this kind of to one side, to both sides, and I go into really a lot of detail in some of the different macrame, different videos. So for that, say you're attaching to something and you just have kind of that turned over loop here. The half hitch knot is going to basically go to one side. So you're going to take this one piece of cording, go around either a piece of cording or a form, and then tuck underneath the form or the cord and do another knot. Again, make a little loop, go over the cord or the form, take it underneath that cord or form, and do another loop. That is the half hitch knot, and that's how you're going to get kind of that nice side knot effect, just like I did here on my pendant, adding in some smaller beads if you want to use something smaller than that. When you do the half hitch knot on both sides then, that's going to be another macrame technique and lesson to learn, so check out some of those other macrame videos that we have on YouTube. The next thing I wanted to show isn't actually a knot, but more of a stop bead. I refer to this constantly at the start of videos, and it works like a knot to hold something so it doesn't go off the thread. But rather than actually tying a knot in the end of your thread, you can take a bead, drop it down towards the base of your thread where you would put a knot, go back through that bead once, and then go back through that bead again a second time. That creates basically a beaded knot at the end of your thread and stops any beads from coming off the bottom of your thread, called a stop bead. Another knot that looks a little bit funky but is sure to hold is a surgeon's knot. The surgeon's knot takes the thread ends and wraps one, kind of twisting 2, 3 or 4 times around. You're twisting them basically together. Then you take those thread ends and you tie them together just in that plain, regular old overhand knot. When you pull then from both angles, it gets nice and tight and it is not coming apart. I can pull kind of with all my might. I'm using my muscles, and that is not coming apart. That's known as a surgeon's knot. Where you would do that in jewelry making is usually with a thinner cotton cording, some stretchy string you can do that with as well, and of course this rat tail or silk cording as well. This one is also known as the hangman's knot or the hangman's noose. And basically what you're doing is you're making a loop at one end, then you're making another loop. Go basically down to the bottom of that second loop that you made. So there's the top, we're going to the bottom, and we're wrapping up towards the top. So just coiling and coiling. However many times you coil around there, that's how many basically little knots you get. Take that thread end then and go through the loop, that second loop that you created. Pull nice and tight, and that's going to get that noose knot. When you're looking then, you can actually work with then doing a tighter or a smaller loop by pulling on that smaller end of thread, and it gets smaller and it gets bigger. Smaller, bigger. So you can play around with all of these different knots kind of to create a different look with your jewelry making skills. The only other thing that I'm not going to go over is how to actually add thread to your beading projects. I have a whole Better Beader on that, as well as another YouTube video also showing the couple different techniques that I would recommend to add thread to projects. They go into much more detail than I would go into here, so they are devoted on their own episode. Hopefully I did not bore you too much with all of these different jewelry making knots and you learned something new. That's the goal of all of these Better Beader episodes. Remember, if you need any supplies to make some of your knots, you can go to below me in the description and shop with us online at PotomacBeads.com as well as PotomacBeads.eu. Remember as well to give a little thumbs up, say in the comments your favorite knot or your technique, as well as subscribe to this YouTube channel to get regular updates from us like Better Beader episodes, new products, new spotlights, and new tutorials. Thanks so much for watching, everybody, and hopefully you enjoyed this Better Beader episode.